Americans need answers, and we at FAIR want to get them as well. So these are the questions you ought to be asking about the Texas hostage crisis that happened recently. Texas synagogue, a Islamic supremacist, Sharia supremacist, basically came in and tried to take hostages. Credit the FBI for acting quickly and helping to resolve the situation. But how did he get here in the first place? So these are the questions Americans ought to be asking about this particular situation and more broadly the policy questions involved. The Visa Waiver Program lets people come into the country without the traditional visa screening that goes on when people have to apply for a visa, supposedly at low-risk countries. Now, the 9/11 Commission that looked at the Visa Waiver Program said there are a lot of security problems with this program. We need to have an entry-exit system for people who come in through the Visa Waiver Program. Clearly what happened here was a complete breakdown in American intelligence, international cooperation. But let's look at some of the rationales that we need to be looking at to see what goes on here, okay? To what extent can we credit the decline in vetting standards to the President of the United States? Right here we have, right after taking office, what did President Biden do and what role did these play in this situation? So first of all, we have here that about a month and a half after he took office, he revoked Executive Order 13780, March 6, 2017, protecting the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States. Proclamation 9645. This is from September 2017, enhancing vetting capabilities and processes for detecting attempted entry into the United States by terrorists and other public safety threats. Then Proclamation 2723. Okay, there's more. April 10, 2018, maintaining enhanced vetting capabilities and processes for detecting attempted entry into the United States by terrorists and other public safety security threats. And that's not all. Okay, we got one more. Proclamation 9983, that's from January 2020, improving enhanced vetting capabilities and processes for detecting attempted entry into the United States by terrorists and other public safety threats. Biden claims that doing all this revocation will enhance national security. I'm reading that right. I'm looking at it, national security. By repealing all of these vetting standards, the Biden administration is somehow enhancing security. So come down and with me for a minute and let's get to the basics of the question of trust. Do we trust the Biden administration to implement the immigration laws of the United States in a way that's going to protect public safety and national security? Forget about the rule of law. Forget about the numerical limitations in the immigration system. Forget about protecting American labor. Take it down to the most basic level. Ideologically, the Biden administration has attached itself to people who do not believe in rigorous vetting and scrutiny. We should ask the question, politically, what are the pressures on the National Intelligence Services, on the Department of Homeland Security, to let somebody like this into the country? He was here living in homeless shelters. He had somehow got technically a tourist visa to come here and live in homeless shelters. He had a rap sheet, a criminal record going back almost 30 years, as well as evidence of all kinds of radical activities and sympathies with ISIS and Al-Qaeda. So the obvious question is, how does this happen? And who's responsible? Now, credit the FBI for acting quickly. Unlike the Tree of Life situation in Pittsburgh, where there was a loss of life, this time there was not, fortunately, other than the perpetrator himself. But typically, the legacy news media will bury this story in a few days if they can. They won't hold Biden accountable. But in light of the fact that there is so much evidence that this administration has done everything to repeal, reverse, and roll back all effective immigration controls in the United States, in light of the fact that they are admitting people on their own emotion that they claim to be asylum seekers, and now there are close to 1.6 million immigration cases pending in immigration courts, who is responsible? And what does it mean for the future? The fall of Afghanistan was handled in a catastrophic fashion. The Biden administration allowed people to be packed on planes and are being resettled in this country, and we have no idea who they are. Anybody who believes that the vetting standards that have been put in place in the last 12 months are suitable to protect the national security of this country is playing a very risky game indeed. We want to understand what happened, where the breakdown was, and you should not be satisfied until we get answers from this government about what happened here and why. Every conceivable red flag warning that could possibly have been projected was by this individual. If they didn't catch him, imagine who's in the country right now who didn't have that kind of track record. Try to imagine the consequences going forward. No nation can protect its citizens and its national security unless it has proper immigration controls and admissions standards. The Visa Waiver Program has been repeatedly flagged as a national security threat, and lo and behold, even Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein, who occasionally, after a major incident like this, will sound rational for a day or two, said that the Visa Waiver Program was the Achilles heel in our national security as it relates to immigration.
Is the Visa Program a hole in the security net?
This is not new for me. I serve on the Judiciary Committee as well, and it's my belief, and I've said this publicly many times, that the Visa Waiver Program is the Achilles heel of America. There are no-fly lists, there are terrorist lists, but they're in the tens of thousands and even millions. So it's difficult to ferret someone out. We have a big problem there. I think we need to take a look at the Visa Waiver Program again and see what we can do to prevent this kind of thing from happening, because I believe it will happen if it hasn't already.
It is a huge problem, and the consequences of this administration's mismanagement, misgovernance, and abject irresponsibility will be visited upon Americans for generations to come. We want answers, and I know you do too. Thanks for watching.